In the golden age of Hollywood, the silver screen wasn't just filled with glamour and grace. Some of the most iconic actresses of the time broke the mold with their shocking, unapologetic vulgarity. These actresses didn't just play by the rules, they rewrote them. From daring on-screen performances to outlandish off-camera antics, they challenged societal expectations with their raw, unfiltered personalities. Known for their sharp wit, brash humor, and risque public personas, these actresses became legends not only for their acting chops, but for their rebellious spirits. Join me as we take a deep dive into the lives of these Hollywood trailblazers who made a lasting impact by being boldly, fiercely, and unforgettably vulgar. You won't believe what they got away with back in the day. 1. Josephine Baker was a woman of unparalleled talent and audacity, whose name became synonymous with the bright lights of Parisian nightlife in the 1920s. Known for her captivating performances, she became a symbol of the jazz age, thrilling audiences with her infectious energy and sensuality. Her iconic banana skirt dance, a bold and unforgettable moment in the history of performance art, was not just a show of physical prowess, but a statement of freedom, self-expression, and defiance of the norms of her time. Baker's shows were filled with an erotic charge, breaking taboos in ways that few had dared to do before her. She embraced her sexuality openly, pushing boundaries both in her performances and in her personal life. Songs like La Petite Tonkinoise added to her mystique, with suggestive lyrics and playful tones that kept her audience on the edge of their seats. Baker's influence extended beyond entertainment. She challenged societal expectations and was a powerful voice in the civil rights movement, using her fame to speak out against racism and inequality. She didn't just dance entertain. She danced a challenge to expose and to uplift. In doing so, Josephine Baker became more than just a performer. She became a trailblazer whose legacy continues to echo in the worlds of music, fashion, and civil rights. Her life was a reflection of the boldness, complexity, and beauty that Paris was known for, and she will forever remain a pivotal figure in both the cultural and historical fabric of the 20th century. 2. Lena Horne's journey through the entertainment world was nothing short of transformative. Early in her career, she graced the stage of the legendary Cotton Club, where she mesmerized audiences with her sultry, seductive numbers. The smoky allure of her voice, paired with the intensity of her presence, made her an unforgettable figure in the jazz and blues scene. Her performances were filled with a raw sensuality that captivated the imagination, drawing people into her world with each note she sang. But Lena Horne was more than just a captivating performer. As she evolved in her career, she transitioned from those provocative, smoky club numbers to more refined, sophisticated material. Her voice, still rich with depth and emotion, grew more controlled, embracing the elegance of Hollywood standards and big band jazz. She became a symbol of grace, embodying both strength and vulnerability in her performances. Horne's artistry was not merely about her beauty or sensuality. It was about her ability to evoke emotion, to speak to the hearts of her listeners through every word and every note. Throughout her career, Lena Horne faced the challenges of being one of the few black women in Hollywood at a time when racial barriers were firmly in place. Yet, she used her platform to break down those barriers, creating opportunities for future generations of black performers. Lena Horne wasn't just a star. She was an icon, a pioneer whose legacy lives on in the beauty, sophistication, and strength of her work. 3. Billie Holiday's influence on jazz and blues music is undeniable, and her voice remains one of the most distinctive in music history. Early in her career, she gained attention for her raw, emotional performances that often blurred the lines between pain and pleasure. Songs like "Gimme a Pigfoot and a Bottle of Beer" and "My Man's a Jockey" were laced with sexual innuendo and drug references, giving her performances a bold edge. She delivered these songs with a sense of playfulness, though it was clear that her lyrics often held deeper meaning, reflecting her own complex, turbulent life. Holiday's approach to music was unique in that she didn't just sing songs. She embodied them, layering them with her own personal struggles. The sexual themes and playful innuendo in songs like "Gimme a Pigfoot" were, in many ways, a reflection of the larger societal struggles she experienced, from her difficult childhood to her battles with addiction. But even as she conveyed those struggles through her music, she maintained an unflinching sense of self, often playing with the audience's expectations and pushing boundaries. This combination of vulnerability and defiance made her songs resonate deeply with listeners. Despite the heavy themes that ran through much of her music, Billie Holiday's legacy is also one of resilience and artistry. She became a voice for those who have been marginalized, creating a space where music could express not only personal pain, but also a kind of triumph. Her ability to mix sensuality with sorrow and to infuse each song with a deeply personal touch set her apart from other performers. Billie Holiday wasn't just a singer. She was a storyteller whose songs spoke to the very heart of human experience. For Lil Hardin Armstrong was not only a talented pianist and composer, but she was also a force in the jazz scene of the 1920s and 1930s. As the wife of the legendary Louis Armstrong, she was a pivotal figure in his early career, contributing not just to his success but to the broader jazz landscape. Known for her vibrant personality and bold approach to music, Hardin Armstrong recorded some of the most playful and suggestive blues of her time, like Georgia Bo Bo. These songs were infused with double entendres and raunchy humor, challenging conventions of the era and showcasing a side of jazz that was unapologetically bold. Her recordings were a blend of sensuality and humor, pushing boundaries while maintaining a sense of fun. Georgia Bo Bo, with its cheeky lyrics, stood out in a time when jazz was still evolving, making it clear that Lil was willing to step outside the shadows of her husband's fame to carve out her own musical identity. Her music resonated with an audience eager for something daring and fresh. By incorporating sexual innuendo and playful themes into her blues, she reflected the freedom and rebellious spirit that jazz was beginning to embody. Though often overshadowed by the towering figure of Louis Armstrong, Lil Hardin Armstrong's contributions to jazz cannot be overlooked. Her influence as a woman in a male-dominated industry was groundbreaking, and her recordings remain a testament to her boldness and creativity. Lil didn't just play music. She used it as a vehicle for self-expression, breaking social and musical taboos with every note she played. Her legacy lives on as a pioneer who helped shape the early days of jazz and gave voice to a new wave of musical freedom. 5. Lil Johnson was a blues singer who made a lasting impact on the 1930s music scene with her unapologetically explicit songs. Known for her bold and raunchy lyrics, she wasn't afraid to challenge the norms of her time, creating records that pushed the boundaries of sexual innuendo and candid expression. Songs like Press My Button and My Stove is Hot and Ready, are a testament to her fearless approach to music. The explicit nature of her work earned her both attention and controversy, but also cemented her place in the history of blues as a pioneer of a more provocative and liberated sound. Her music was drenched in double entendres and sexual references, with a playful yet daring tone that made her a standout artist in an era where many female performers adhered to more modest themes. Lil Johnson's ability to blend humor with her more explicit content made her songs resonate with audiences looking for something raw, exciting, and unfiltered. She tapped into themes of desire and pleasure, giving her listeners a glimpse into a world of candid expression that was rare in mainstream music at the time. Despite the shock value of her lyrics, Lil Johnson's music wasn't just about being provocative. It was about empowerment and embracing one's sexuality without shame. In a male-dominated industry, she carved out her own space, using her voice to reclaim and redefine the narrative around women in music. Her legacy lives on not only in the audacity of her lyrics, but also in her boldness to challenge societal expectations, making her a trailblazer in the realm of blues and early popular music. 6. Lucille Bogan, also known by the stage name Bessie Jackson, was one of the most explicit and unapologetic blues singers of the early 20th century. Her songs, particularly tracks like Shave 'Em Dry, the unreleased version, and Bull Dyke Women, shocked listeners with their raw, graphic lyrics that were unlike anything heard in mainstream music at the time. Bogan's music was filled with explicit language and taboo subjects, pushing boundaries in ways that were considered highly controversial, even by the standards of the often provocative blues genre. Her tracks were notorious for their sexual content, describing in explicit detail the physical aspect of relationships and desire, themes that were largely taboo in popular music. Shave 'Em Dry, especially in its unreleased form, stood out as one of the most graphic and bold songs of its time, with Bogan openly addressing themes of lust and carnal pleasure in a way that was shocking even for her contemporaries. Songs like Bull Dyke Women took on themes of gender and sexuality, challenging conventional norms and embracing a sense of liberation and expression that was both bold and defiant. Bogan's music, while often considered obscene by the standards of the day, was a testament to her courage in confronting subjects that were often suppressed. In a time when women, especially black women, were expected to adhere to strict moral codes, Bogan's raw, unfiltered approach was revolutionary. She carved out a space for herself in a male-dominated industry by daring to speak her truth in the most explicit terms. Though much of her work was suppressed or censored in her time, Lucille Bogan's legacy as a pioneering figure in the blues genre remains clear, as her shockingly graphic songs continue to stand as a bold testament to freedom of expression. 7. Dinah Washington, known as the Queen of the Blues, had an early career that was anything but tame. In the 1940s and 1950s, she made a name for herself with some of the most provocative blues tracks of the time. Songs like Long John Blues and Big Long Slidin' Thing were full of explicit, sexually charged lyrics that shocked audiences. Washington's voice was sultry and commanding, effortlessly capturing the raw energy of the blues, while embracing themes of desire and longing that were rarely discussed so openly in popular music. Her boldness in addressing sexual themes made her an unforgettable figure, setting her apart from many of her contemporaries. She was known for her powerful, sensual delivery, and the lyrics in these early blues songs were filled with innuendo and direct references to sexuality. At a time when female singers were often expected to conform to societal standards, Dinah Washington's willingness to express such frank desires through music marked her as a pioneering force in the genre. However, as her career progressed, Dinah Washington's image began to shift. She moved away from the more explicit material and embraced a more polished, mainstream persona. While her early blues songs may have been shocking, they were also a crucial part of her evolution as an artist, allowing her to break into the world of jazz and pop. Washington's legacy is not just about her musical range, but about how she navigated the complexities of image and artistry, evolving from a provocative blues singer to a beloved mainstream icon. 8. Julia Lee was one of the standout figures in the Kansas City blues scene during the 1940s and 50s, a time when blues was experiencing a transformation. Her music was daring, capturing the raw emotion of the era with an unapologetic edge. With hits like Snatch and Grab It, King Size Papa, and Don't Come Too Soon, she became known for her bold lyrics that pushed boundaries, often bringing themes of love, lust, and heartbreak to the forefront. Her voice carried an unmistakable confidence, drawing listeners into a world where vulnerability and strength coexisted. Lee's music was more than just catchy tunes. It was a reflection of her unapologetic persona. She didn't shy away from the suggestive and often playful lyrics that were considered risque for the time. Yet, there was something incredibly human about her songs. They resonated with the everyday struggles and desires that everyone could relate to, even if they were expressed in a way that felt a little more daring than what mainstream audiences were used to. She didn't just sing the blues, she lived them, capturing the complexity of life through her distinct voice. What set Julia Lee apart was her undeniable ability to capture the spirit of Kansas City blues, blending jazz, swing, and blues into a style that was all her own. She stood as a woman in a male-dominated genre, carving out a space where her voice was heard. Her impact is still felt today, as her contributions to blues music remain a key part of the genre's legacy. Even in an era where female blues singers were often overlooked, Lee's confidence and boldness allowed her to leave a mark that continues to influence generations of musicians. 9. Mabel Scott made her name in the world of rhythm and blues during the late 1940s and early 1950s, captivating audiences with her bold, sultry style and unapologetic lyrics. She became notorious for her filthy party records like Right Daddy and Mabel's Boogie, tracks that were filled with sexual wordplay and innuendo. These songs were a daring departure from the norm of the time, with lyrics that pushed boundaries and openly embraced themes of desire and intimacy, reflecting a time when artists were experimenting with more provocative and candid forms of expression. Scott's recordings were a playful mix of humor and sensuality, which set her apart from many of her contemporaries. Her voice, dripping with confidence and charisma, was perfectly suited for the upbeat, often cheeky rhythm she embraced. Songs like Right Daddy became anthems for late-night parties, as they carried a sense of fun and freedom that invited listeners to let loose and embrace their desires without shame. Her unique approach to blues and R&B brought a sense of liberation, where sexual expression was no longer hidden in subtlety, but boldly on display. Although she wasn't always taken seriously by the mainstream, Mabel Scott's impact on the music scene is undeniable. Her records were part of the broader movement within rhythm and blues that began to break down cultural and social taboos, and her raw, flirtatious energy paved the way for later generations of artists to explore sexuality openly through their music. Mabel's work remains a vital part of the history of party records and the evolution of R&B, proving that a little mischief and a lot of confidence could change the game forever. 10. Hattie Noel was a burlesque and nightclub comedian who became widely known during the 1930s and 40s for her bold sense of humor and unapologetically risque songs. Her performances were a blend of sharp wit, playful sensuality, and biting commentary that set her apart from many of her contemporaries. She wasn't afraid to tackle taboo subjects, using her comedic timing and unfiltered delivery to push the boundaries of what was considered acceptable for a woman in the entertainment world at the time. With her infectious energy, she captivated audiences who were eager for humor that ventured into the realm of the provocative and forbidden. Noel's blue humor and suggestive songs became a defining characteristic of her act, often drawing on themes of love, lust, and the complexities of relationships. She brought a sense of liberation to the stage, unafraid to address adult topics with a sense of fun and irreverence. At a time when much of mainstream entertainment adhered to a more conservative code, Hattie was a breath of fresh air. Her ability to combine comedy with risque material earned her a loyal following and placed her in the spotlight of the nightclub and burlesque circuits, where she found success performing in front of both local and national audiences. Though not always recognized in the mainstream, Hattie Noel's impact on the entertainment scene was undeniable. Her brand of comedy paved the way for later performers to embrace adult themes and challenge societal norms. Noel's legacy as a fearless performer who wasn't afraid to make people laugh, while also making them think, continues to resonate, as she helped shape the comedic landscape for women in burlesque and beyond. 12. Butterbeans and Susie, the vaudeville duo consisting of Jody and Susie Edwards, were a standout act in the 1920s to the 1950s, known for their energetic performances and infectious sense of humor. What truly set them apart, however, was Susie's fearless delivery of outrageously dirty punchlines and songs. In an era where vaudeville performances often adhered to strict moral codes, Susie shattered expectations with her unabashed, often risque material. Her sharp wit and bold lyrics took audiences by surprise, using humor to address taboo subjects like relationships, sexuality, and societal norms in ways that many performers of the time would shy away from. The duo's performances were an electrifying combination of comedy and music, with Susie's raw, unfiltered humor acting as a perfect counterpoint to Jody's musical accompaniment. Their act was a mix of playful banter and suggestive songs, where Susie would often deliver the punchlines with such confidence that they left little to the imagination. The duo's comedic style was never overtly vulgar, but instead cleverly subversive, using innuendo and double entendres to push boundaries and leave audiences laughing, sometimes nervously, but always entertained. Butterbeans and Susie became a beloved fixture in the vaudeville circuit, and their legacy as one of the first duos to incorporate blue humor into their performances left a lasting impact. They helped pave the way for later acts in comedy and music that would blend adult themes with mainstream entertainment. Through their bold approach, they opened doors for performers to embrace more liberated, unashamed forms of expression, especially for women in comedy, making them a key part of the evolution of the American entertainment scene. 13. Lil Green was a prominent blues singer in the 1940s, known for her sultry voice and unapologetically suggestive lyrics. Her music was a bold reflection of the era's evolving blues scene, where artists began to push the boundaries of both sound and subject matter. With songs like Knockin' Myself Out, Lil Green quickly earned a reputation for her ability to mix passion with playful, often risque lyrics. Her vocal delivery was rich with emotion, drawing listeners in with both vulnerability and strength, making her a standout voice in the blues genre. What set Lil Green apart was her fearless approach to sexuality in music. In a time when female performers were often expected to adhere to more modest or conventional standards, Green was unafraid to explore themes of love, lust, and longing with directness that was both bold and empowering. Knocking Myself Out is just one example how Green could take the typical love song and transform it into something far more daring, using suggestive wordplay and phrasing to capture the intensity of romantic and sexual desire. This unfiltered expression was a hallmark of her work and solidified her place as a trailblazer in blues. Although Lil Green's career was not as long-lived as some of her contemporaries, her contributions to the blues genre were significant. She helped pave the way for future generations of female blues singers who would embrace their sensuality and power through their music. Her blend of raw emotion and suggestive lyrics helped redefine what it meant to sing the blues, leaving a legacy that still resonates in the genre today. 14. Alberta Hunter was a pioneering figure in early American blues and jazz, whose career spanned multiple decades and underwent several transformations. In her early years, she gained attention for her risque recordings and performances, which pushed the boundaries of conventional entertainment. In the 1920s and 30s, Hunter's cabaret work was filled with bold, often suggestive lyrics that reflected the freewheeling spirit of the jazz age. Her performances were a striking blend of sultry blues, jazz, and vaudeville, using innuendo and playful sexuality to captivate her audiences. With songs like Downhearted Blues and You Can't Tell the Difference After Dark, Hunter's voice became a powerful tool for expressing themes of love, lust, and heartbreak, breaking the mold for female performers at the time. But Alberta Hunter's career was not limited to her early risque material. Over time, she reinvented herself as a more respectable figure in the entertainment world. As she matured, she moved away from the cabaret circuit and embraced a more polished, sophisticated image, performing in upscale venues and refining her musical style. Yet, her early years of bold and unapologetic performances remain a crucial part of her legacy, marking her as a trailblazer who challenged social norms around gender and sexuality. Her ability to navigate these transitions with such grace and strength spoke volumes about her versatility as an artist. Later in life, Hunter made another pivotal shift. This time, she publicly came out as a lesbian. Her openness about her sexuality, particularly during a time when such matters were not widely accepted, further cemented her place as a groundbreaking figure. She continued to perform well into her later years, earning widespread respect for her contributions to blues, jazz, and LGBTQ+ visibility. Alberta Hunter's journey from risque cabaret performer to respected elder of the music community was a testament to her resilience, artistry, and the undeniable power of living authentically. 15. Ma Rainey, often hailed as a mother of the blues, was a revolutionary figure in early 20th century American music. Known for her commanding voice and unapologetic persona, she was one of the first to bring the raw, emotional power of blues to mainstream audiences. What set Rainey apart was not just her powerful vocal delivery, but her willingness to sing about taboo subjects, particularly sexual freedom and lesbian affairs, which was shocking even for her time. Songs like Prove It On Me Blues, with its bold lyrics, were groundbreaking for their openness about same-sex love and female sexual agency, making Rainey a symbol of defiance against conservative social norms of the 1920s. In a period when the conversation around sexuality, particularly lesbianism, was heavily suppressed, Rainey's willingness to sing about her personal experiences with such themes was nothing short of revolutionary. Prove It On Me Blues stands as a testament to her courage, with lyrics that seem to dare society to challenge her freedom and identity. Through her music, Ma Rainey not only showcased the power of blues as a form of personal expression, but also contributed to the early LGBTQ+ visibility within the music industry. Her songs about love, desire, and heartbreak were filled with the kind of authenticity that made her an iconic figure in the history of American music. Though Rainey was a figure of both admiration and controversy during her lifetime, her legacy has only grown over the years. She was a trailblazer for both women in blues and for LGBTQ+ representation, carving out a space where personal identity and artistry could merge without shame or fear of judgment. Ma Rainey's unapologetic approach to her sexuality, her groundbreaking musical style, and her boldness in the face of societal norms have ensured that she remains a vital and influential figure in the history of blues and American music.